Hey guys, it's Steve from the Tech Buzz, and I have a review for you today here for the Arcade1up Marvel Pinball table. I want to talk to you a little bit today as why I got it, why I really like it, and I know there's been reviews out there for the last year. It's been out for quite some time, but I wanted to give you my take on it. So let's take a look at it right after this. So the first thing that really caught my eye with the Arcade1up pinball is because this isn't my first Arcade1up pinball. This is actually my second. I have a Star Wars Arcade1up pinball, and I really love it simply because I'm a big Star Wars fan. So what Star Wars fan wouldn't have a pinball machine if they have an arcade? The other reason I picked up the Arcade1up pinball machines is they look really nice. Now, I have an AtGames Legends pinball machine. Aesthetically, it's nice, but it doesn't live up to what Arcade1up has done with the look and feel of the table. Now, the Marvel Pinball table looks really good. Now, one thing I did notice between the two, the Marvel Pinball table actually has the Arcade1up Pinball logo and the Zen logos on opposing sides of the back box, which you build when you get the table. On the Star Wars, however, there is no logos up there. The other things is you can see the very brilliant chrome legs. You have fully adjustable legs, and you can raise it up, lower it down. It's great for leveling if your floor is uneven. Where I have mine located, you can see right in the back here, right over my shoulder here. Part of it's sitting on the carpet, the other part of it's sitting on the tile floor. So having them fully adjustable to be able to level them and make them steady for playing is a plus. The back box, they're not utilizing the full DMD. In fact, some of it's even being cut off by the graphics that overlay the back box. I wish they kind of would have manipulated that a little bit, or as others have said, stretched it. I'm not a fan of stretching video. I'm not a fan of stretching things. Does it bother me? No, it doesn't really bother me. But again, it's worth noting. The button configurations that are on this is your typical Arcade1up buttons. Nothing special. In fact, in some instances, I think the buttons are a little bit better on the AtGames pinball, but that's for another story. The real plunger that's on here works great. Feels a little kind of cheap compared, again, to the AtGames pinball, but it does its job and does what it's supposed to be. Now, one of the other things, since I have both pinball tables, I have the Arcade1up pinball table, I used to have the Toy Shock, and I have the AtGames Legends. I've since sold the Toy Shock, but one of the things that I can honestly say between the AtGames pinball and the Arcade1up pinball is the build quality. The build quality is a lot better on the AtGames versus the Arcade1up. Arcade1up uses this plexiglass on top of it. Now, I did notice on my Star Wars tablet there were vertical streaks, almost as if it was built into the glass on the Star Wars table, where my Marvel table, it wasn't as bad. And I can't really show you that on camera because it's something you have to see in person. But if you would think about taking glass and just gluing it together across to make the tire width, that's kind of what you see unless you're at a certain angle on the play field. Now, the height, I think the height is perfect on this. I think it's a great way. I think one of the things that I want to point out with this cabinet, besides the graphics and the look and feel, for a $599 table, it's a great investment. It's a great price point, especially when some comparable tables are not quite as built and have the games that these have. Now, I do realize some of the folks out there won't buy this because they're not real pinball tables. These are Zen tables, and they're tables that they came up with. But I think that's part of the fun with this. This is that new school pinball. And honestly, I don't have a problem with that. I have a AtGames Legends pinball that has all of the pinball tables that are from the old school and the real pinball tables. that I really want to play right now. But then I have the new school stuff, and I find that the younger generation gravitates more toward that table than they do the Legends Pinball. There's a lot of discrepancy between the Arcade1up pinball being 24-inch versus the At Games being 32-inch and 720p 60 on the Arcade1up versus 1080p 60 on the Legends. And for me, when I get engulfed in these games, I'm not really looking at it, but you can see there is pixelation in some of these games. But again, these aren't things that the average consumer is going to notice. You're not buying a $4,000 V-Pin. You're not buying something that should be, for the price, almost perfect. And I think there's a lot of tainted reviews out there that nitpick all these features, but for $600, this is something that you can play and have a lot of fun in your home arcade. After all, isn't that what it's all about? Now, a lot of reviews, they'll nitpick the screen, the brightness, Arcade1up has a lot of stigma going around right now about the monitors being not what they should. And again, I go back to, are you having fun with the game? I could probably ask everybody that comes over for game night, and not one of them will say anything about pixelation on the screen. Not one of them will say anything about the plexiglass on the top. Not one of them will say anything about the DMD being not full screen. These are things guys like us who review them, who are nitpicking about it, if you will. But at the end of the day, if you're somebody that enjoys virtual pinball and you want something at an affordable price, you have to be the judge. And that's where I think these reviews hopefully will help you in this fashion. You can see on this play field, it's very nice, it's very colorful, it has a lot of features that you can add and take away. I'm not going to get into the gameplay because I really don't want this to be a super long video, because there's plenty of videos out there where people go through gameplay and they'll show you. Right now, I just wanted to show you the actual screen and give my take on it. Now, what I want to talk about really briefly is the fact that about a month or two ago, maybe it was even longer, Arcade1up pinball machines were up to $749. Now, if you would have asked me then, do you feel that that's worth it? No, I don't. I don't think it's worth more than the $599. In fact, I would go down and say $549 would probably be the sweet spot for this pinball table. But at the price point of $749 or even $800 with tax, I think you're crossing the threshold of being overpriced for what it is. But the $549, $600 price range, I think is very, very good for what it is. So having said that, you have to determine what's important to you. Are you looking for a virtual pinball table that's 3/4 scale? If so, this is your choice. And the reason being, the At Games Legends Pinball, as you can see, I have them all behind me. They're all lined up. The Legends Pinball is going to take up a little bit more room. And I like to say it's 3/4 scale, but it's not. It's in between 3/4 and full size. So you're going to need more room. Where the 3/4 scale size, they line up next to each other very well. You have space between them. You have plenty of room for people to be able to play with it. And I think that in itself, if you're building an arcade, is what sets it off. So you have to determine what you want. If you're going for a single table, if you just want one table that you can put games on it, maybe the Arcade1up pinball is not for you. If you want to add additional tables that you maybe have purchased or hook a PC up to it, yeah, you can do it with the Arcade1up, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult than it would be if you went with an arcade or At Games or a V-Pin table that you build yourself. Overall, I'm very pleased with my purchase. I love the tables that are on it. There's a lot of things that I can nitpick about as far as real estate on certain tables, not going all the way to the top of the screen. But again, it's nitpicking. I really like the video game aspect where they show a little bit of a story into the pinball tables. I think that's a lot of fun. And if you're looking for something for you and your family to enjoy, I really, really think that you'll enjoy this. Again, guys, I just wanted to give my take on this. I really wanted to just give you my opinion on this. And overall, like I said, I really like it. And that's why I bought the second one. I jumped out on a limb, you know, getting the Star Wars one, but I really wanted to, after getting the Star Wars one, I really wanted to get the Marvel. Spider-Man and Darth Vader, two of my favorites, gotta have the tables. So having them here, they look good in the arcade, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. You guys can feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'm going to try to bring you some more content like this. I'm doing some more gaming videos where I'm going out and going to yard sales and different places like that to try to find games. And I know there's a lot of videos out there on game hunting, but if that's something you really enjoyed and you enjoy watching out here, please leave a comment below. I also stream a lot of Fortnite with family and some other games that I'm doing, so make sure you guys subscribe so you get the notification when I go live.
No, I know. He should have went after them with you until you guys got him killed, and then come
Well,
back.
I didn't want you to die straight away, so like...
If
he died, we could have rebooted him, and we could have still been alive.
You gotta be careful, Samantha. They got all my gold guns. One's a shotgun.
And we do that on Twitch and YouTube. So, guys, I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to get some more content out, and I really would like to bring the Retro Buzz back. I know Glenn and I are really looking forward to bringing that back, and we're going to hopefully start it, him and I. Maybe we'll bring in a third, but it might be a little bit. So if you'd like to see that, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Guys, until next time, keep buzzing.